Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Derek Michaud, and this is another episode of Flush in the Pocket presented by Brunswick. And today we have PBA Tour star Curtis Odom. How you doing, Curtis?
Not too bad. You're so kind.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And, thank you very much for doing this. So how did you get started bowling?
Well, my sister, she worked second shift at a hospital, medical unit clerk, and sometimes on Friday nights, her and some friends would go to one of the bowling centers, and once in a while, I got a chance to go with her. I'd bowl a couple of games, and then I'd fall asleep while they finished, and because of course that was kind of late for me.
Mm-hmm.
I started when I was, I think, 12. So um, then the next spring, a friend of mine asked me about going to the bowl and bowling a few games. I said, sure. And so we went. And when we finished, the lady at the counter asked, would we be interested in joining a junior league, summer league? And we looked at each other and we thought and said, well, sure, we'll try that. And we grabbed my brother and another guy from the neighborhood, and we bowled our first league.
Okay. So who coached you?
Well, initially, I would probably have to say Jim Calloway. He kind of helped run the league, and then there was my main two were the manager of the bowling center, Ron Wiederman, and also Lou Trunk. Lou helped me out a lot. One of my good friends, one summer, he broke his leg in a cross motocross bike accident, and he was bowling in a mixed, junior adult league, and he asked me to take his place, and he was bowling with Lou Trunk, and so I knew Lou was one of the top bowlers in the city, and so I worked on my game and kind of similar to what Ernest Lagle had said, because back in the day when you practice, they could, at least at AMF centers, they could turn the lanes on what we call shadow bowling. And so once you knock down the pins, they never were set back up, but you got the chance to work on your timing and bowl. And I go in and I shadow bowl for about an hour, and then I bowl a couple of games and got some instructions from Lou and sometimes from Ron. And I started to improve. And I think my first year, I think I averaged 110 or 112, and then eventually I got up to around 173 or something like that. And I used to throw a full roller.
Mm-hmm.
So what I ended up doing was seeing a lot of the guys bowl better with three-quarter roll. And so for 2 weeks straight, I forced myself to throw a three-quarter. And my accuracy was still pretty much there. And just from the summer to the end of the winter tour, I raised my average 17 pins and went from around 173 to 190.
Okay. So did it take you a while? How long did it take you to go from 110 to 170 to say around 200?
Oh, well, I would say it probably took about 4 years, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I Yeah, about 4 years, 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
It took me to get there, and I went off to college 1 year, and then I came back and went to college back home, and um, after that, I think it was after my freshman year in college, I went up to the adult leagues.
So I watched today your 1991 El Paso Open. You finished
Uh,
fourth, and you played the lanes pretty straight. Can you hook the lane, or were you able to, or just were you a down and in kind of player?
I wouldn't say I was a full straight player, but I was definitely straighter than guys that hooked it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I used to consider myself uh, a, a tweener with the emphasis on hook,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that was a pretty cool telecast. I enjoyed bowling in the El Paso Bowl. That was fun.
Yeah.
Or
What did
sorry,
you
Bowl El
accomplish?
Paso, I guess. Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, I guess it's called Bowl El Paso.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
knew what you meant.
Yeah.
What did you accomplish in your bowling life that made you ready to try the tour and think that you could be successful?
Well, I guess it was a series of things that led up to that. I in North and South Carolina, we had qualifying for the U.S. Open, and once I became an adult bowler, I always tried to compete and try to qualify for that. And yeah, I was a donator for a while, and then I figured things out, and I got better, and I got better, and I think it was 80, 86, 85. I won, and one of the perks when you win, you got to take the big trophy home for a year, and then you brought it back, and got your name engraved on it, and you brought it back. So then the next year, I won again, and so I got to take the trophy back, and then I won it 3 times in a row, and I don't think anybody at that time had ever won it 3 times in a row. So I just got to keep the trophy, and that was kind of cool. But one of the stories that I heard was if back then if you won, you received $1,000 in a spot into the U.S. Open, and first and second place went. So if you were second, you got $800. Now there was this story that I heard that if you were in second place and you couldn't catch the guy who was in first, but there was somebody close enough to you in third, that the second place bowlers might not try as hard because if they finished third, they got $600 and didn't have to take their money and try to bowl in the U.S. Open. And I always wanted to bowl, so each time I bowled in the U.S. Open, I cashed. So that kind of let me know that I was kind of getting to the point of everything I was doing was going in the right direction. And then I think it was 87 and 88. I went all events actual in the state tournament. So what that did was that gave me a spot in the Masters.
Mm-hmm.
And so my first Masters was in Jacksonville, and I bowled really well. That was the last time that the Masters only had 2 rounds of qualifying. We bowled 2 5-game blocks, and they cut to the top 63 and the defending champion. Well, I led qualifying. I beat everybody in the field. And actually, that was the first year that the tournament was held on synthetic lanes. And I didn't realize it, but I knew I was considered a state rep because that's how I got into the tournament. But qualifying first was something a state rep could not do. So even though I led qualifying, state reps got the positions of 57 through 64. Defending champion got 33rd. So even though I led qualifying, I was seated 57th in the match play. Which, I guess that really didn't matter as much because you got to beat whoever you had to bowl. And so, but the 8th seed thinking they're getting a 57th seed and actually getting the, tournament leader, that's was something they had to deal with.
Mm-hmm. So what do you mean state rep?
Well, because I qualified when I won the all events actual, that sent me to the Masters. And so because I won my spot in the state tournament, they considered so I don't know if there were 50 state reps that was there. And so then the top 8 state reps made it to match play.
Okay. All right. So we have a couple of comments. We have Ahmed checking in saying, hey, and then we get one of your buddies. And so cool to see my buddy interviewed on your podcast. Thanks for doing this. Well, you're welcome.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Uh, Thank you for doing this. So let's see. What was your best moment on tour?
Wow. That's a tough one. Um, I guess, I mean, I don't have just one. Um, when I came out in 82 and I bowled 11 stops. In 83, I bowled nine, and then I went home because I knew it wasn't good enough. And then I came back out after, I guess, and another thing, I guess, that also helped me realize that I might have been ready to go on tour was in 86, 87, 87, 88, 85, 86. I bowled 8 regional tournaments. I think I made 6 finals out of the 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of a numbers person, so I know it's apples to oranges, but I figured out what I did, multiplied it by the amount of tournaments the guys who bowled a lot of tournaments did, and my numbers were in the top 5 in money and points, and so I said I was going to give that a shot. So 86, 87, I bowled as many tournaments as I could, and I ended up winning Bowler of the Year in the Southern Region. And so then I said, well, let's try it again because there's people talk about this sophomore jinx. Well, then the first year I did it, I won 3 regionals and finished second 3 times. Then the next year I won 3 regionals and finished second once. And so I felt and won Bowler of the Year. And so I thought, well, maybe it's time for me to, to give it a shot. So uh, tripping a 4 in the last game of match play in Atlantic City, my first full year on tour, and I led the tournament. That was pretty special. Um, I guess one of the things that kind of meant a lot to me, bowling in Hyattsville, Maryland, I was near the top, and it was the first round of match play, and I'd already bowled a 300 game in the tournament. In the last game of match play, I shot 300, and there was so many people in the stands watching. And then when I shot 300, they all just rushed down and congratulated me. That was pretty special. And then after I did my due diligence, filling out my sheet and whatever, I just stood there and we talked for like an hour, different people, and just uh, that's fun. I enjoyed that.
So what was your worst moment on tour?
Oh, well, I guess there's a couple of those. It was funny. I think in one of the places that I really like to bowl, Marcel's Olympic Bowl, it's it's an 80 lane center, but we bowled on one side that had 40 lanes, and it was 6 bays. So one through 6 was a bay, and then 7 through 24, and then 25 through 40, and all 3 played differently. And once, I mean, I was in the cash, and it was a tough. The shot was always tough. There was a tough house because of all the different conditions. Uh, the way the lanes played, and it was the third round of qualifying. I came out the gate with 120 something, and though as I walked from the high end to the low end, I saw I was not the low score. So someone bowled worse than I did.
Oh.
And then a low point, but I still end up cashing in the tournament. Uh, Another low point was in Wichita. Uh, I came out the gate with stellar 114 game. That was pretty low. So those were my 2 low points. I can't remember if I cashed in Wichita or not, but I know I did in Rochester.
Mm-hmm. What was did you have anyone's number on TV or in match play that anybody that you beat up a lot?
Well, I never really thought of that, but Jason Couch, we used to bowl in the Southern region, and I used to he told me that I had his number. I just remember once he came out the gate with the front six, and I ended up beating him, and he always said that I had his number. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the only thing I can think of.
Sure. Jason's a great bowler. Did anybody have your number on TV or in match play?
Well, I don't think I bowled a lot of bowlers multiple times on TV, but Parker Bone III, he had my number. He had a little saying, because he'd get lined in and he'd say, he'd walk off the approach, because we're friends, and he'd say, just like shooting ducks, and then he'd add, in a bathtub.
Wow.
So yeah, he had my number. But I mean, there's a lot of top bowlers that, the Walter Rays, the Norm Dukes, Walter Ray and those guys, Voss. I mean, they're tough to beat. So
yeah. Now I think I might know the answer to this a little bit, but were you on any ball staff?
Yes, I kind of thought that early on, because Bill Hall really helped me a lot when I came back out in '89, and I was throwing hammers a lot. I thought I might get on hammer staff, but that didn't happen. But then in the mid '90s, I got on Brunswick staff. They offered me an opportunity, and I enjoyed it. I mean, and not too long after I got on staff, I ended up moving to Michigan, so I was close to Muskegon, and so that worked out well. They had some really good guys there in R&D, Ray Edwards, and the guru, Billy Olikowski. I mean, it was great guys.
Now, is it the same Ray Edwards that won El Paso in '91?
No, different Ray Edwards.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
How cool was it to
excuse me,
how cool was it to be on a video game?
But Ray Edwards' sister won the doubles in 2009 in the Open Championship. They shot a record. The one that works for Brunswick.
Oh, okay. Sorry, didn't mean to step on.
No, I was cutting you off. I'm sorry.
How cool was it to be featured on a video game back in the mid '90s or late '90s? Brunswick Circuit Pro Bowling. That must have been pretty neat.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. They ended up doing it in 3 platforms. They did it on NES, and then they did PlayStation 1, and then they had a computer version of it. And it was just cool because I would, go to different cities and tournaments and bowl pro-ams, and the kids would say, "Oh, I bowled when I bowled the game. I played as you," and I hadn't even played the game at that point, and some of them were, they were, "I averaged 250 as you," and this and that. And I'm going, "Wow, that must be nice." So I like to have that out here.
Yeah. I shot 300 at you.
Thanks.
Yeah. 300 to 214. No, hold on 1 second here. So, was it hard growing up wanting to be a bowler? Were you treated any different in school at all or anything like that? Anybody pick on you or anything like that?
No, not really. I did a lot, my share of sports. So I went to a Catholic school from kindergarten through 8th grade. So we just had basketball, and we had a track day once a year. And so then I wanted to play football. So I went to public school in 9th grade, and I played football, and I wrestled, and I bowled. And actually there was a couple of guys, my 7th and 8th grade year that bowled as well. So no, everything was all good.
Yep. All right. So what was your favorite tour stop?
Wow. There's just a lot. I think it's Skyway Park Bowl in Seattle.
Okay.
That was great. Bowl El Paso, I enjoyed going there. Pete Thomas down in Golden Pin in Tucson.
Hmm.
Wichita was great. I Marcel's, even though it was a tough center,
Hmm.
um, I enjoyed bowling there. I had so many friends in Rochester, and I still do.
Good.
Um, the let's see, Peoria,
Hmm.
Landmark Recreation
Sure.
Center.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
just and yes, I didn't always bowl well, but bowling well in those places helped. But it's the people that makes you want to keep coming back.
sure. What was your least favorite stop on the tour?
I don't really think I had one. I just enjoyed, bowling, and uh, whether I bowled well there or not well there, I just enjoyed it. Enjoyed my time on tour.
So, where did the tour never go that you wish they had gone?
Oh, it would have been well. They used to have a tour stop in the bowling center that I worked, but that was it was one of those touchy things when R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company sponsored the tournament, and it was called the Winston-Salem Classic. Well, they also made cigarettes called Winston's, and they also made cigarettes called Salem.
Hmm.
And that was mid 70s. That was when they started to get to the point. I think it was then where they stopped advertising uh, cigarettes on television,
Hmm.
and and it might have been even just a little bit past the mid 70s. But I don't know this for sure. But I heard that in the Winston Salem area, the tournament was referred to as the Winston-Salem Classic, but outside it was referred to as the Piedmont Classic, which the area of uh, High Point, Greensboro, and Winston-Salem was known as the Piedmont Triad. So uh, I don't think R.J. Reynolds liked them changing the name of the tournament, and
Hmm.
so they ended up stopped sponsoring, and it was a pretty big stop. Back then, it was a $150,000 tournament, and they wanted to go higher, but um, I think there was something with the Firestone because it was the Tournament of Champions. It had to be the largest tournament, so largest prize fund.
I saw an interview with Randy Peterson. He was talking to George Branham III during the month of February, Black History Month, and he asked the question, "What would it take to get more minorities out on tour?" And George answered. So I'll ask you, what do you think it would take to get more minorities out on the PBA tour?
Um, well, I don't know what George said, but
He said the money.
well, yeah, well, I can't remember who said this. The answer to all uh, questions is money.
Mhm.
Um, I well, when I went out full time in '89, uh, there were a lot of minorities on tour. Uh, I mean, there would be anywhere from say 6 to 16 at a stop, and that was just wonderful to see. And that was when the prize funds were really really nice. And then in '94, things changed with uh, advertising through ABC network, and they took I don't know, like $2.4 million out of our prize fund or something like that. And that was as cable television was coming along,
Mhm.
and advertising dollars started to get thinned out.
Mhm.
So that made a big difference. And so the prize fund started to go down.
Mhm.
And I think that's the main thing. I mean, when you can make millions of dollars
Mhm.
sitting on the bench somewhere in a sport, and for a year, and you can't make $1 million, if you're the man on our tour,
Mm-hmm.
it's easy to see why. I mean, it's not just minorities. I mean,
Sure.
less and less bowlers.
Right. No, George said that he said that you should be able to make $1 million in a year instead of $1 million in your career or something like that. So
Yeah, I mean, it was when I think Earl Anthony was the first one. When he went over the $1 million mark, that was a huge thing for bowling. But like you said, it was his career. It's not. It's not in the season. I mean, I think actually it was in '89. I think when Mike Albee went over $100,000 in a season. That was big news.
Mm-hmm. All right. So was there a PBA rule that you agree with?
Um, I never really looked at the rules as
Okay.
what I agree with and what I don't agree with. I mean, they were the rules, and I just,
You just followed.
yeah. I don't think there were any. There were some people dress codes off and on, back and forth, stuff like that. That I might not have. I think there was one. I was coming back on tour. I can't remember, from an injury or something, and we were not allowed to wear jeans in the bowling center, and when we're not bowling, and I didn't think that was a good rule, and I think it lasted maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because if guys aren't bowling, and they don't want to be in their bowling attire all the time, so they want to come back and relax, and so they have jeans on. Well, when they couldn't come into the bowling center, they probably decided to go elsewhere, and when the proprietor didn't see the guys in the center and wondered why. So I think after maybe 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month, that rule got changed. I mean, that's probably the only one that I didn't agree with.
Okay. Double dipping there, answering 15 and 16 at the same time. What was not a rule that should have been?
What was not a rule that should have been? Wow. I don't know.
Okay.
I I listened to part of Ernie's, and I'm pretty sure he had a few that was
Yeah.
that probably fell under that. So I'll leave that to him.
There you go. We got about another 3 hours left with. No, I'm just kidding. Listen, I did not plan that, and that was just, and he was like, "Oh, I got to go eat or whatever." And, he's a grown. That was actually a really
that was at the 2-hour mark.
Yeah, that was yeah.
But the thing is, it wasn't like you asked 3 hours worth of questions. But it's cool. It's cool listening to his stories and all the stuff that he went through. And see, I don't think, and I could be wrong, but I don't think bowlers now do action like he did back in the day. Yeah. And even back in the 80s, in the 90s, my roommate Ricky Ward would bowl action, and you have the guys like Patrick Allen, Rudy Revs. I mean, those guys. I mean, we would before becoming a touring player, I would go to Cincinnati and bowl the Super Classic, the Hoinky Super Classic, and it was over Thanksgiving weekend. But you got there on Monday because there was action all week. And sometimes, I bowl some, sometimes I just watch because it's just phenomenal watching the guys. And I don't know if they still do that anymore.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let me get to the list here. So, why do you think you didn't win a national title on tour?
Well, there was a couple things in my first two that I wish could have been different, but me being a rookie on the telecast, just not knowing. But the honest fact is the reason why I didn't win was they knocked down more pins than I did.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There was one telecast that I thought, I think it was Riverside, and I started out with 2-0, 220, and I was bowling Tom Kreitz in the semifinals, and I either went 4-bagger, 7-spare, or turkey a 7-spare, and then I punched out to the 8th, and Tom went strike, big 4, 8 out, 4-pin, and then he started striking. Well, I had to go first, so I bowled the 7th and 8th and 9th frames. I got up, I struck in the 8th, shooting 277, and then Mike Durbin goes, well, here's the situation. If Curtis Odom goes 8 spare in the 9th, Tom Kreitz can punch out in the 9th and 10th and shut him out. So I went 8 spare.
Oh, man.
Tom got the one in the 9th. He got the first one in the 10th. If you watch that telecast, you can see his reaction because he tugged the one in the 11th a lot of bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it struck, and then I knew it was over because he was going to make a great shot in the 10th and the 12th, and he did. And I thought I had a chance because he went stone 9, and then messenger off the wall just tomahawked it out. And so Tom's a good friend. I mean, one of the times when I won the U.S. Open qualifier, I think it was in Venice Beach, and a bunch of us just got a hotel room, and Tom was one of the guys in the room. It's so funny because he bowled C squad, I think, and he came back, and I said, "So how'd you do?" And he goes, "Well, I shot 400 over or something." And I said, there was 8 game blocks, and I said, "No, what'd you bowl tonight?" Because I thought he ended up 400 over. He goes, "No, I shot 400 over." So he averaged 250 for the block.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Let's see here. So, when did you leave? When did you leave the tour, and why?
I left the tour. I think it was it the touring? No, it was the PBA National. I think it was held in Taylor. I think that's when it was. So it's like in March of 2002, and I wanted to, or February. I had a daughter in November of 2000, and I wanted to watch her grow up and be there.
Yep.
So that was a big reason.
Yeah,
I don't regret it.
Do you think resin hurt you? No, of course, definitely don't regret that.
Initially, yes. When I started, came back on tour full time, I made 4 telecasts in '89. I started having wrist trouble in '90, and then I came back on, missed about a couple of weeks, came back on tour, made a couple more telecasts. Then in '91, I made 4 more. And then '92, I cashed in my first 6 tournaments and made a show in Hyattsville, Maryland. And then my wrist really started to deteriorate. And so later, I ended up having to miss the U.S. Open and Masters that year. And then later that summer, I had surgery. So I left the tour at the end of March, and I was gone for 11 months. I started back up in March of 1993. And resin balls. So basically, I missed the first full year of resin balls on tour. Now, I mean, I was doing okay on tour. I had good rapport with ball companies. So I had some of the ball companies send me bowling balls to help me. They were gracious enough to send them to me and to start rehabbing. I think I started with an 8-pound ball for like a week and a half. Then I went to 10. And then I went up, and they were all resin balls.
Mhm.
So my only thing was when I would practice, I never got the um, the sense of what resin balls did when I would go on tour, because when you practicing with the guys, I mean, you bowl so many games, but you don't bowl 30, 40 games uh, on a condition. And back then, they oiled the lanes once a day, not where most of the time guys get to bowl on the fresh all the time.
Mhm.
So when I bowled B squad, I would bowl. So there was, not including practice prior to the squad, there was 4 on a pair. So there was 12 games on A squad, 12 games on B squad, 12 games on second shift A squad. So that was 36. So with the practice and stuff, there's probably 40 plus games bowled on them. So when I would come on and bowl B squad second shift, I mean, and you're talking about the best bowlers in the world, so they're pounding one area, and the lanes just got so unbelievably wet dry. I
Mhm.
mean, I could miss one left and not hit the head pin. I could miss one right and it's big four, because the dry is just so dry. And it took me so long to figure out what I needed to do. And then it was, I think, the summer of 95, uh, I was coming out and I figured, well, there was only two things. I only had two choices. I had to hook it more and throw it harder, or take my hand out of it and throw it less and hook it less. And obviously, I couldn't do the first one. So I took my hand out of the ball.
Mhm.
Actually, I went to Tucson, and that wasn't working. And so I went back to my normal game, and I bowled well in the fall. Okay. And then starting the winter tour in '96, I started taking my hand out of the ball, and I had the best winter I ever had. After the winter tour, uh, I was, I think, eighth on the point list. I finished fifth in Vegas, sixth in Grand Prairie, and then eighth in Miami, back to back to back weeks. And so I was, I thought I had it figured out. And then I think our lane man quit, and then ideology of how the lanes were done changed, and then I just did not have enough tilt,
Mhm.
and I struggled. But yeah, I mean, I like wrestling balls. Don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but just the beginning, yeah, um, it took me a minute, a good
Who-
long minute.
Yeah. Who do you think resin hurt the most?
Wow. I mean, really, I don't think it hurt anybody.
Okay.
I mean, um, everybody figured out what to do with it. I mean, the straight players, it gave them, more pop on the back end,
Mhm.
uh, and guys who hook it. I mean, I would assume that it opened the lane up even more for them. So, but I can't say I'm not one of those guys. So,
Mhm.
Um, uh, who is the best player?
To never win a national title, in your opinion?
wow. I, I mean, I can't say, because I don't know who
Mhm.
has not won one in the recent years. I mean, I used to have that moniker.
Mhm.
um, I never won a national title. I made 13 shows, and
Mhm.
um, but yeah, I don't know who. Um, I know Don Moser was up there too.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know
So
exactly. I
I
mean,
got
I'm pretty sure PBA would.
right. I got a buddy that does podcasts, and he's asked that question, and a lot of the answers says everybody. A lot of people answer Richard Wolf.
Man, Richard was a phenomenal bowler, and I don't know if he's still bowling or not. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm looking at total. I think they went by like money won, and so I don't know where I would be on that. But Richie, man, wow, he was phenomenal. His game was just unbelievable. It's so funny when because when your thing came out, and we would bowl in the southern region because he bowled in our region, and the only time I had a chance against him was if he threw plastic. I mean, if he had a urethane ball in his hand, it was just, look for the next match because it was over.
Yeah. So, question 23. I actually asked you a long time ago about the video game, so we'll just move on.
Oh, okay.
We got some stuff in the chat. And let's see. Let's look here. And who did you room with on tour, and what was life like away from the lanes?
Well, I guess we can just go to initially when I went on tour, I roomed some with Skip Wilson and Michael Asuncion, and then there was I think Chuck Bayard for a minute. Actually, in Wisconsin, I roomed with a week with Dale Eagle, and
what was that like?
that was interesting.
Yeah,
Dale's a good guy though.
Yeah.
And then room with Bob Lynn Jr. for a bit. But when I came back on 89, it was Steve Hoskins and Harry Sullins for a bit. And then Steve and I, it was just Steve and I for a while. And then Ricky Ward, he joined us. And then, so it was us three. And then after a while, I think Steve got a motorhome. And so he was motorhoming it. And it was just Ricky and I. And then I got a call from a friend of mine in Burlington, North Carolina, Chico Valenzuela. And he says, hey, I got this guy, I'm sending out Mark Musabi. And can you look after him? And, like, okay, well, it was funny because I got the phone call and it was doing roll call. And so I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. I got to go. I don't want to get fined for not being at roll call.
Right.
And so and then I think he came out, I don't know if it was Riverside or El Paso when he came out. And so we all roomed together for a while. But it was after that, it was basically just Ricky and myself.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Oh, sorry. And then life away from tour was, it was weird during the winter because basically this was back when people went to the mall. You go to the mall, you go grab something to eat, you go to the bowl, you go to the hotel. I mean, that was it. And then during the summer, though, I played golf, and I was able to get away and not think about stuff with the bowling and stuff. And I normally bowl well in the summer tour because I got a chance to get out and play golf.
Sure. All right. Let's see. So it says, in way of traveling, work life, family life, etc., and trying to make the tour. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So, what was it like your first time making a TV show? Crowd format and everything.
It was interesting. It was fun. I kind of touched on it earlier. One of the things that I don't know if something we were given the wrong pair
Mm-hmm.
or something, but I was tournament leader, so I got to practice on the practice pair to stay loose and warm up. And I don't know if the practice pair didn't get oiled or we were given the wrong practice pair, but uh, in order to hit the pocket on the practice pair, I had to stand 15 and 5 left than what I was playing the TV pair.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I'm a show rookie, so I just went with it. And after a while, uh, I think semifinal match, I just said, I need to get my swing in line. So I just played the lanes, how I was going to play them on the TV show. And yes, my ball was hooking towards the 7-pin, but I was able to get my swing in line. And I think it was the second lowest scoring telecast in the winter tour that year. And for my first time on TV, I hit the pocket 8 out of the first 9 shots. So I was pleased. I mean, yeah, I gave Albee a chance and he took it. So,
Yeah.
but you know, that's why he's Mike Albee.
When doesn't he take the chance? When it's like, yeah,
I know.
yeah,
He's great.
Yeah,
Very nice guy too.
He is, absolutely. So there's a PBA super fan who lives in your home state. You're still in North Carolina, correct?
No, I've been living in Michigan since
Oh.
1996.
Okay. Well, he was from North Carolina, and he says his name is Adam. He says, "Hi, Curtis. What was it like to represent North Carolina on the PBA tour?"
Oh, it was awesome. You know, I enjoyed living in North Carolina, and even just representing when I would go bowl tournaments in the Southeast. I mean, I bowled so many tournaments in Florida, people thought I lived in Florida.
Mhm.
But I enjoyed representing North Carolina, and it was just cool. My parents got a chance to watch me bowl when I made telecasts, so that was cool. And it was just always nice coming home and people being congratulatory of how I did on tour, and you know, it's always nice. It's always nice, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So here's something about the Open Championships in 2014. What do you think? Do you think you can do it again? And you must have done something in the Open Championships in 2014. And he wants to know if you can do it again. I'm not sure.
I can't remember if that was 14 or 13. I can't remember. But I bowled really well. I shot 700 in team event, and then doubles and singles. The lanes kind of hooked a little bit more, so I was just kind of grinding it out. And I think I shot like 628 or something like that. And then I made a ball change and moved in a little bit and shot 741 in singles, and I took over the lead in all events. But we normally bowled early, so I knew that wasn't going to hold. But it was kind of cool, you know, leading all events at any point in time in the OC.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, honestly, anything can happen. I'm a lot older, and there's a lot of guys that can do things to the bowling ball that I can't do. So my chances, I would say, would be smaller. And I'm just not on that level.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like I can compete, and that's why I still go. When I feel like I can't compete, then I think that's when I'll stop going.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoy bowling. I'm bowling with a great group of guys now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just fun. We hang out. We get along, and it makes me want to continue to bowl. And I always go, and I always, you know, when I go there, I get there, I feel like I have just as good a chance. So, um, so who knows?
Right.
Maybe in South Point next year.
Oh, there you go. Any thoughts of bowling any PBA 50 events or?
No,
No?
funny story about that.
Mhm.
I uh, Tom Hess is one of the bowlers that's in our group, and uh, actually in Walter Ray Williams Jr. as well.
Mhm.
And I watched him at South Point. We bowl. He bowled an earlier squad of doubles and singles. So I came in and I got a chance to watch him bowl, and I mean it was just crazy. I mean he was just splitting the board, and he shot like 750, 740, 750 or whatever. And then when we bowled, Tom Hess bowled on our pair, and we bowled on the same pair. And just watching him bowl, and I'm going, yeah, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just two unbelievably talented bowlers, and then there's, you know, the rest of them. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Um, Shout out to Clint. He wants to know if you've ever bowled against George Branham the third.
Um, yes. I know. I can't remember how many times we bowled each other.
Mhm.
Um, I, I was going back and forth with a friend Reggie, and he mentioned about Peoria, and I made the telecast in Peoria, and George did also. So
Mhm.
um, I know I bowled him in that. But uh, yeah,
Mhm.
George is an unbelievable bowler, great bowler. Uh, it's always fun when I got a chance to just to hang out with him
Sure.
or bowl.
Mhm. So, what we do and what I do in this podcast, a lot of people do 10 questions or whatever. I do going flush in the pocket, 12 questions, basically 300 just using your voice, but I got a baker's dozen for you, Curtis.
Well, I was gonna say I hope I carry a few of those. So
Oh, you
please do
will.
200.
Oh, you will. Uh, so what is your favorite food?
Wow. I mean, there's food that I like, but
Mhm.
there's this seven bean casserole that's really awesome. I make a really good baked salmon. My burgers are really good. I enjoy those. Um, my rookie year in uh, after bowling the Residence Pro tournament,
Mhm.
uh, a friend and another guy, we went out to eat, and this guy had some appetizer, and it was escargot, and of course it was like, man, you're gonna eat snails or whatever, and he said, no, man, you should try it, you should try them, and so we ended up trying them, and they were not bad, and so yeah, I mean, if I'm someplace and it's on the menu, I normally order escargot.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
What's your favorite music?
Wow. Um, I'm kind of eclectic. I mean, I like rap, I like R&B.
Mhm.
I we throw some classical in there.
Sure.
I some of my favorite concerts. I hadn't gone to a lot of concerts, but
Mhm.
uh, back in the day, I went to the Brothers Johnson and Patti LaBelle. That was unbelievable. I one of the best concerts I've ever been to. Saw Luther Vandross in Chicago. It was just like months before. Yeah, I think he had a stroke.
Wow.
And then Josh Groban, Andrea Bocelli is just phenomenal. I mean, and then I mean, there's some contemporary out there now. I mean, I just listen to a lot.
Yeah, good. Good. Uh, what's your favorite sports team?
Oh man, that's easy.
Okay.
You talking about professional?
Sure. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah. I had a friend when I was growing up, and I gravitated towards the teams that he liked. And I mean, yeah, they don't do as well as back then, but the New York Jets,
Sure.
the New York Knicks,
Mhm.
which goes really well because my brother's a Lakers fan, and they used to just go back and forth with each other. Um, and baseball, the San Francisco Giants, and of course my brother's a Dodgers fan, so you know, we go back and forth with that. And I do have every from 2010, 2012, 2014, I do have my San Francisco Giant World Series hats.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. What is your favorite hangout? Where is your favorite hangout, I guess? Where?
Ooh. Don't really have one. I mean, there's I mean, I live in a small town, so we don't have a lot of hangouts.
All right. What's your favorite color?
Man, growing up, I really, really liked blue, but I like pink as well. I actually wore pink on a few telecasts, so.
That's probably why I've seen every telecast that I would see you bowl. You're throwing the blue hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Bear ball, I think, was a pink hammer or something like that.
Oh, I love that ball. I made some. I used that in competition. Made some telecasts in that in Wichita. I think Tucson. That's a great ball. But now I didn't realize this, but Mike Durbin commented on me wearing a pink shirt, and he said that pink is a strength sapping color. It saps the strength from your opponents. I did not know that.
Okay.
So I just went with it.
What was it? What did it mean to you to win the Steve Nagy Sportsmanship Award in 1996?
Oh, it meant the world. I mean, it's one of the things that is voted on by the your peers. So when they, gave me that honor, it meant a lot for me.
So you said you've gone to a few concerts. The number 7 was, do you go to concerts? But you said you go to a few, but not a lot.
Right. Yeah. Another one went to saw BB King. That was cool. That was cool.
Yeah. The thrill is gone, but not forgotten. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
What are you binge watching right now?
That's actually nothing.
Okay.
I don't binge watch because I mean, I guess I understand it, but so let's say there's a show and they drop 12 episodes or whatever all at once, and you watch them all at once. Now it's a year and a half or more before you can watch another one. So I like to watch one and then, maybe, a few days, a week or so later, just spread it out so that, it's not gone all of a sudden.
Right.
I mean, we started watching Wednesday, and that was phenomenal. But stretched that out because I mean now it's still like a year wait before they come up with some more.
Sure.
So,
what's your favorite time of day?
Wow, favorite time of day is I'll say evening.
Yep. Okay. All right. So if you're dying of thirst, you just need something to damn drink right now. What's your go-to beverage?
Oh, ice water.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if it's been blessed with or a curse. I don't know, but I can't do a lot of one thing. So if I have a favorite food and if I eat it like 2 or 3 times in a week, I can't just keep eating it. I have to And so if I like Coca-Cola, I can't drink a lot of those. I have to, but drinking ice water, I'm not a warm water drinker.
Oh, no.
I like my water cold.
Yep.
And so whether you're tired or just sitting, I mean, my go-to, it has to be ice water.
Yeah. What is your favorite line in a movie?
Dude, come on. There's so many, and because I'm a movie person, man. I mean, you just say Arnold Schwarzenegger and just go down the list.
Yeah.
Forrest Gump. The Princess Bride. I mean, inconceivable. Um, there's there's just so many. Um, uh, Ripley from Aliens. I mean, it's
Mhm.
just Eddie Murphy. I mean, it's they're just all so great. There's no way I could pick one.
Mhm. When I started this podcast, I wasn't sure if I was going to do any good, but I guess I'm doing all right if I'm stumping you, huh?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, there's just so many, and like I say, I quote a lot of of movie stuff. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's just you can just go down the list.
So I know we probably talked about that, but what did you do when you were on tour? What did you do to take your mind off of bowling?
um, During the summer, golf.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed playing golf. Um, Sometimes when I got a chance, I would do some writing. I used to write poems and lyrics for songs, and I enjoyed that. Um, and then just sometimes just hanging out with some of the guys and
Mhm.
not talking about bowling and just
Sure.
being an average person.
Sweet. That is awesome. Well, Curtis, thank you so much for doing this. I know you got to go, but this has been a lot of fun. Good to chat with you. Hopefully, we can chat again. Always stay in touch and enjoy your day, sir. And thank you so much.
Hey, my pleasure. Anytime, Derek. It's great that you got this going, and Brunswick is sponsoring. That's fantastic, and
Mhm.
it's always nice seeing friends excel in doing things.
Absolutely, sir. Well, thank you so much, and you have a great day, sir.
Thank you. You do the same.
All right, bye bye.
Bye bye.
So that was Curtis Odom, and what a guy, what a great guy. And that was a lot of fun. So coming up on Thursday, we got an episode on Thursday. Now this is going to be a little different because this is a bowling podcast, and uh, let's see, and so this is a bowling podcast, flush in the pocket, right? But on Thursday, we're gonna have Jason Murphy. Jason Murphy is a radio guy. We're stepping off the lanes and into the radio studio, and that's got to be awesome, right? So Jason from WQBE and WLNQ Radio, he will talk about his radio career. I'm a radio guy myself, and whatnot. So that's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be a late night one though, because he's doing his show live, and he's gonna do this episode from the WQBE studio. And we're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff like his opening, his opening to his radio show, his air shift on WQBE anyway, is interesting. It's unlike anything anybody has ever done, and we're going to talk about it. And he's a big sports guy. He's just an all-around good guy. I've known him for 3 years, so we're going to talk to him Thursday night at 10 o'clock, Jason Murphy. So please be on the lookout for that. And coming up on earlier, maybe at the end of that or sometime soon, I should say, I'm going to give you a major podcast guest announcement. We got a couple things working, but I got one major announcement coming up as soon as the date is confirmed, and then we will go from there. So thank you guys for watching. This has been Flush in the Pocket. Curtis Odom, thank you for joining me. And hopefully you guys have a great day. Get out and enjoy this finally nice weather here in Maine. I don't know where it is, what it's like where you are, but if it's nice, go out and enjoy it. And excuse me, I will talk to you soon. This has been Flush in the Pocket, presented by Brunswick.